Hey guys, how's everybody doing this morning? We're going to look at the top 20 list today, the top 20 MaxFactor, which would also be known as the top 20 high yield ETFs of the week. And we're also going to look at the get paid every day list. We're going to make a list of the best on each day. Now, with the big caveat being our Monday list is still not looking that great because we only have one ETF at this time that pays on Monday and has been out more than a quarter, but that's going to change soon. It's going to change in mid-August. So we'll have better choices for Monday. All right, here we go. At number 20. Nice. We have 5E. That's the first time this has been on the list. 31% yield, 10.2% NAV return just for the quarter. That's pretty good. It's actually really good. 5E is the fund that is sub-advised by Dorsey Wright, or they use the Dorsey Wright methodology to pick the 5 stocks that are in it. Now, 5E is also kind of unique because it doesn't only have covered calls, it also just owns the stock in the underlying without any options in it. So if they're doing covered calls on Tesla, they would also own Tesla shares. It would be 40% Tesla shares and a 60% portion of covered calls on Tesla. All right, let's go for the next one. Tesla's not in 5E lately. It's because it's fallen out of favor. Will is number 19. Great job, yielding 12.7. That's nice. Good steady NAV return also. All right, number 18 is XPay, 21% yield, NAV return of about 10% for the quarter. That's really good. Nice job, XPay. XPay is from Round Hill. XPay is designed to give you back your own money, but that's good. That it can be good depending on your tax situation. It's designed to pay return of capital. And I believe it's a target 20% fund. It just has 21% because probably the price has pulled back a little bit. So the trailing 12-month yield may be more than 20%, but they target 20%. All right, Biggie's next, 9.9% yield. That's nice. And then we have Coney at 135% yield. Now, Coney was number one recently, but Coney, let's look at Coney. A couple things happened to Coney. One thing, we changed the formula around. It's the last time we're going to change it. But, and the other thing is, did Coney just pay a dividend? That may have also hurt him. Well, yeah, and Coney did gap down and pay a dividend, or yeah, they did just pay a dividend. So that's going to hurt the NAV return, the number right there. It's still pretty good at 10.8% for the quarter. On the list is FEPI. That's a good steady one. 26% yield, almost 12% NAV return. They sell options. They sell cover calls on tech stocks in the monthly time frame, and they do a nice job. Nice. Number 14 is PLTY. Palty is what I call that. 74% yield. That's really good. And a 12% NAV return. LFGY is next. I have this one in my own portfolio. I like this one, and I feel pretty good about it with the 15% NAV return and paying about a 65% yield. I will take that. GPTY paying a 30% yield and has a 21.4% NAV return. That's really good as well. Lots of NAV return out of GPTY. They sell covered calls in the weekly time frame on tech stocks. Similar type of stocks that FEPI has. You can see GPTY has a little bit higher yield and a little bit more total return. Great job, GPTY. At number 11 is Dizzo. 37% yield and 12.2% total return. Great job, Dizzo. We haven't seen Dizzo on this list recently that I remember. Coming in at number 10, SMCY. Now this is a perennial powerhouse, 114% yield combine that with a 12% NAV return. Well, that's really good. We will definitely take that. SMCY based on the stock SMCI. That's a Yield Max product. Let's go for number 9. FIBI. Nice job. Another Yield Max product. Sells covered calls on synthetic covered calls on Facebook or Meta. Yield is 47%, but you have a really good total return of 13.71%. The MaxFactor also factors in for safety. It's not just about yield and total return. There's also a safety element in here. Number 8 on the list is QDTY from Yield Max. Great job. Now these guys sell ODTE options. This is an interesting fund. They sell options every day on the Qs. 27% yield and a 14% total or 14% NAV return. Great job, guys. TSMY, 47% yield and a 20% NAV return. TSMY is the Yield Max product based on Taiwan Semiconductor. These guys are selling synthetic covered calls on Taiwan Semiconductor in the weekly time frame predominantly. All right, let's see who's next. Number 6 is OARC. That's good to see. 44% yield and a 22% NAV return. Great job, OARC. Number 5 is COIW. This one is yielding 40% and has a NAV return of nearly 80% for the quarter, which is absolutely insane. This is our NAV champion. This is our NAV champion this week. Let's look at COIW. All right, look at this. COIW, that is a lot of NAV upside. It's just been here about half a year, but my gosh, it was in the April pullback as low as 20, and now we're sitting, for a while we were over 60. We pulled back a little bit, but this is incredible. Paid a 17% yield so far, but the MaxFactor figures out the annualized. It annualizes that yield. So that's why that came out to 35-40%, because we have about half a year past, but this performance for the quarter is something else. The only thing that's probably keeping it from number 1 is this average true range of about 5% a day. But number 5 is pretty good too. I'm using this to allocate my own personal portfolio, and I'm going to pick the top 5 from this list. So COIW does make the cut this week for sure. Doesn't matter if it's 1 or 5, it's still going to be in there. And AMD is also going to be in there. And I already have a few shares of AMD. I'm going to go ahead and put it back in here. Anyway, AMD's great. I mean, 75% yield with a 23% NAV return. I mean, that's what's not to like, right? Let's see who's number 3. Number 3 is QDT. Man, I really like this one. I've never owned this one before, but it looks like it's time to. And what's not to like about this thing? A 41% yield and a 12% NAV return. Now, QDTY is a similar style of trading. It's a similar type of fund. Now, it had over the same time frame, it had a 27% yield. Well, and that's annualized, so that's for the year, and a 14% NAV return. A little bit better NAV return, but not, about 50% less yield. Anyway, QDT has more balance when you factor in risk and everything. It makes 3rd on the list. So that's really nice to see. I love to see an index product get up here with the single stocks. Now, NBDY, this thing is something else, yielding 75% and pairing that with a 20% NAV return. That's really good. The other thing is NVIDIA is less risky than AMDY or less volatile. NVDY's daily true range is less than AMDY's. And when you factor that in, the daily volatility, it makes NVDY a better bet according to the MaxFactor. All right, who do you think is number one? Let's check it out. NVDW. Wow. All right, now this one only yields 35%, but which is just about half as much as NVDY, as you can see there, but it has more than twice the NAV return. In fact, it almost has 3 times the NAV return. This one is the best buy for the money when you consider the daily volatility, when you consider everything, according to the MaxFactor this week. Like I say, I'm using the MaxFactor to rebalance my model portfolio, and I'm going to pick, I don't think I need NVDW and NVDY. Whenever there's duplicates, I'm just going to go with the top one. So the NVDW, QDTE, AMDY, COIW, and OARC are going into the MaxFactor on Monday. I'll follow up with some content on that. All right. Now, also, there's a get paid every day list. I don't care about getting paid every day. I especially wouldn't do it with these right here. But for people that do, let's go take a look at it. Now, the only problem with the get paid every day list is we don't have a good selection of stocks on Monday. All right. And we really don't have a great selection on Thursday. And now, with the caveat, Monday has a good selection. All of the Rex growth and income funds are Monday payers. They haven't been around a quarter yet, so they aren't included in the MaxFactor. That's going to rectify itself by mid-August, I think, is when they get included into the MaxFactor, and that'll be great. And I would expect to see one of those, MS2 or CO2 or whatever, the Coinbase one, or let's go look at these real quick. I would highly recommend people use ULTY if you aren't already. This is Miss Roundhill, another YouTube influencer. Her channel's name is Bad Financial Decisions. She is great, and this is a great tool. Go buy her a coffee and check out this tool. But on these Mondays, yeah, we're going to have MS2, TS2, CO2, and NV2 to choose from for Monday. So you don't have to wait. If you're making a get paid every day list, I would just choose one of those, and that's your Monday. Really, on Thursday was kind of a weak lineup too, and I don't mean that these aren't good. I mean, so far, these haven't been performing. They either aren't old enough or haven't performed well enough. Now, I will say this, Maggie just got put in the MaxFactor 2 days ago. So, and I really like this one. This one's a Magnificent 7 yield fund. And I have high hopes for Maggie. And of course, I have high hopes for blocks. It's too soon to tell on that, or it's too soon for it to be in the MaxFactor. It's not too soon for you guys to allocate. But anyway, for what it's worth, just because I like to be consistent. I mean, these are the ones right now that are in the MaxFactor and the highest ranking for each day. So if you're trying to do something, you would do week on Monday, WEEK. Then you would do YBTC on Tuesday. That has a pretty good MaxFactor rating of 2.5. And then you would do QDTE on Wednesday. And as you guys saw, that was number 3 on the MaxFactor this week. So that would definitely be your Wednesday pick this week. Then you have TQQY for Thursday. And that one's just has had a rough time lately, but hopefully it'll come back. But I would expect blocks or Maggie to start climbing up the Thursday list. We'll see. We'll definitely see. Those granted shares ones with leverage can do well also. I mean, we'll see. It changes every week, right? And then your Friday payers, the number one on the board. So that's an easy decision. That's NVDW. So if you're doing it, if you're playing at home and you don't want weak, what I would do is you have an NVIDIA-based one, you have a Tesla-based one, you have a NASDAQ, and you have a Bitcoin-based one. So go up here and choose something else. Use your brain for Monday. So you already have you need a Coinbase one, right? It's your choice. You have Coinbase or MicroStrategies, but you already have on the Get Paid Every Day list a Tesla underlying and an NVIDIA underlying. So maybe you put MS2 or CO2 in your Monday lineup. That's for you guys to decide. Guys, thanks for being here this morning. I appreciate you being here, and I will talk to you later. Have a great day.